Hi, I'm Casey, and we're going to do a TBR of sorts today. If you've been around here for a while, you probably know that I don't really do a lot of TBRs, and that's because I am a mood reader who has a proclivity to put way too much pressure on myself to read something, and then absolutely not read it because I have just completely upset the balance in my brain for the wanting to read and the need to read something. So I'm not very good with TBRs. They usually just make me feel a lot of pressure and can absolutely just tank my reading. But this is much more of just kind of a framework of what I expect to at least be pulling from for the next 2 to 3 months. So let's go ahead and do a TBR today. Quick note, this will not include any books that I have on hold from the library currently or that I currently have from my library, primarily because I'm lazy and don't want to dig my phone out. So let's get to what we have physically here. So the first one I have here is In Defense of Witches, The Legacy of the Witch Hunts and Why Women Are Still on Trial by Mona Chalet. And I'm so sorry if I've mispronounced that last name. I believe this is a nonfiction talking about exactly what it's talking about, which is women accused of witchcraft and persecution and the history of that, and I'm very excited to be getting to this in like spooky season. The next one I have here is The United States of Cryptids, A Tour of American Myths and Monsters by J.W. Ocker. I believe this is exactly what it says as well, where this is just a rundown of various cryptids throughout the United States, and I'm very excited to get to this one. The next one in the pile is A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lin. This is a young adult fantasy, I believe, that starts off with a young girl whose mother is poisoned, yes, with some tea, and our main character hears about a competition and she goes and signs up or joins. I'm a little unsure what the plot is. I mostly bought this one a while back because it's got one of the most gorgeous covers I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm a sucker for that. So here's hoping that this one is a really fun journey. Next one in the pile is The Dark Half by Stephen King. I have no idea what this is about. I just read the synopsis on the cover here, and I still don't really know what this is about, and I'm primarily picking this one up because I'm trying to complete the Libro FM audiobook challenge this year, and one of them is listen to an audiobook published the year you were born, and that would be this one. So that's why I'm picking it up. The next one I have in my pile is The Crane Husband by Kelly Barnhill. I have very little idea of what this is about, except it's supposed to be like weird and strange and creepy, and it's something about a young girl whose mother brings a crane, a 6-foot tall crane home, and the crane starts to slowly take over their lives or something. I don't really know. I'm excited to get around to it, and again, just really beautiful, stunning cover. The next one I have on my pile is The Right Hand of Evil by John Saul. I don't really know what this is about. I did a quick peruse of the synopsis on the cover, and this seems like this might be a haunted house story or possibly a thriller of some kind. I don't know. I am just trying to get through books that I own, and I have this one, and I've had it for a long time, so here's hoping that I can get around to this one next couple weeks or so. The next one I have is You Must Not Miss by Katrina Leno. This is one following Magpie, a young girl who escapes into an imaginary land called Near, I believe. This is a young adult, and I think that this is supposed to be just like a weird, like, kind of horror, maybe a little fantasy fiction. I'm absolutely obsessed with the cover, and I should be able to get around to this one next couple weeks or so, so we'll see. The next one I have is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. This is the sequel to The Poppy War, so I'm not going to give any synopsis of what this is supposed to be about because I'm pretty sure that will be full of spoilers for book 1, but I really want to continue in some series I've started this year, and I really loved The Poppy War last year, I believe, whenever I read it, and so I want to continue in the series, and maybe I'll be able to finish it out this year. Who knows? The next book I have is Good Morning, Destroyer of Men's Souls by Nina Renata Aaron. This is a memoir following the author's struggles with addiction and I believe a romantic relationship, also very much steeped in addiction. I've been enjoying reading more nonfiction, and I've really had a good time reading memoirs this year, so here's hoping the trend continues. The next one on the pile is Hummingbird Salamander by Jeff Vandermeer. I don't really know what this is about. On the back here it says profiteering wildlife smugglers, an amoral energy company, an extremist apocalyptic vision. The threats come from all around and time is running out for Jane and possibly for the world. And I really love Jeff Vandermeer, and I want to read more of his work, and this sounds like a really fun place to start. The next one I have is Wild Seed by Octavia E. Butler. This is a science fiction, I believe. This is following superhumans, Possibly, that's kind of what I gleaned from the back here. I really love Butler's work. I've heard this is weird as shit, and I'm excited to get around to it. The next book I have here is Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung and translated by Anton Her. This is a collection of short stories. I've heard they're weird, they're gross, and I am really excited to get around to it. Next one on the pile is What Happened to You? Conversations on Trauma, Resilience, and Healing by Bruce D. Perry and Oprah Winfrey. My therapist recommended this to me a couple years ago, and I haven't gotten around to it, but I'm gonna try to really get around to it in the next couple months. I think that this is going to be either really insightful or really break me, and either way I'm kind of excited for it. Next one I have here is Haunted Nights, edited by Ellen Datlow and Lisa Morton. This is an anthology, I believe, surrounding Halloween season. So what better time to read it than spooky season, which is coming up or is already started if you live in this house. So I'm excited. I feel like I've been doing a good job of getting through and enjoying a lot of the anthologies I have, so I really want to continue this trend in the coming months. The next one I have here is Somewhere in the Unknown World, a collective refugee memoir by Kao Kalia Yang. This, I believe, is a collection of true stories from a variety of people, most refugees in, I believe, the United States, possibly the United States and Canada. But this, I think, is going to be absolutely wonderful. I'm excited to get around to it, and I don't know, I'm feeling like this kind of color scheme for fall. So like very cool tones with like just a pop of a warm tone in there. So this feels perfect for me right now. The next one I have here is The Deep by Alma Katsu. This is a like horror retelling. Retelling isn't the right word here, but this is a horror novel set around the Titanic. And I don't know too much about this one. Alma Katsu has been kind of hit and miss for me, but I have high hopes for this one, and I already have the audiobook for this one from my library, so I should be getting around to this one pretty soon, and that's exciting for me. Next one I have here is The Cat Who Saved Books by Sasuke Natsukawa, translated by Louise Heal Kawai. I don't really know much about this one. I think that this is a portal fantasy with a cat that goes around saving small bookstores, and I just honestly, I bought this a few months ago because I thought the cover was adorable, and I stand by that statement, and I am really looking forward to reading this one. It's really short. It sounds like it'll be really sweet and really fun. The next one I have here is a hefty one, and it's Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown, mapping meaningful connection and language of human experience. I've read one Brene Brown before, and she's been recommended to me several times, so I'm really hoping that this one will be good. My audiobook hold is finally coming in for this one from the library after placing it back in frickin' April. So I'm very excited. This is another one that apparently I'm just gonna, you know, kind of hurt myself with trauma books this season. So that's what we're doing. Okay, and then the next series of books I have are basically just my Christmas books that I really should read before the next Christmas pile. So we're gonna go through these pretty quickly. I have here A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. I tried to start this one a couple months ago, but honestly, I just didn't have time for it. This was right before I got stitches in my hand, and I was already kind of struggling with getting around to this one. And then I just decided I wasn't going to get to it that month, but I'm kind of hoping to come back to it in the next few months just because I was a little intrigued. I'd only read the first chapter or two, but I was kind of intrigued by it, and I was interested to see where it was going to go. I don't really know much about it, and since I know I'm going to be picking this one up in the next couple months, I'm just going to keep, you know, myself a little uninformed about what it's about because I like to go into books like that. The next book I have is The Book of the Unnamed Midwife by Meg Ellison. I believe this is post-apocalyptic in a world where most women and children have died. Yes, and childbirth becomes extremely deadly for the mother and infant. And this is the story following a midwife as she goes around trying to help some of these people as they give birth. And yeah, I don't know. I've heard nothing but incredible things about this one. And if the cover is to be believed, this is going to be like kind of a snowy wintry book, so I might save this for like once the snow starts to fall here, because I think that this could just be a really good vibes book. The next book I have here is The Blind Owl, and I'm sorry, but I am not going to completely butcher this name because I didn't look it up before I started because I'm an ass. But I don't know anything about this one. I put this on my list. I can't even remember why. And then my mother-in-law was so kind to buy it for me 2 years ago at this point. So I really need to get around to reading this one. It's short. I imagine this won't take me very long once I'm into it, but that is also on the list. Next one I have here is In Dreams We Brought by Betty Rocksteady. This is another collection of short stories, and I have been really having a good time reading short story collections and anthologies this year, so I want to continue on with that train and see where this is going to take me. The next one I have here is The Mothers by Britt Bennett. This is a historical fiction, I believe, or literary fiction. There's not much on the back here except to talk about like Nadia and Audrey and Luke and the decisions they make when they're young and the impacts that they have when they're older. I love a good literary fiction. I haven't been reading a lot this year, so I'm very excited to have one kind of queued up to give me a break from some of like the darker, more horrifying things that I have in my pile here. The next one I have here is Eileen by Otesha Moshfegh. Can't talk today. I don't know much about this one except that it's supposed to be set in a really snowy landscape, and this is following a young woman named Eileen during the Christmas season, and this sounds like what's gonna get me in the mood, honestly, for the Christmas season and for like creepy Christmas. That's my favorite kind of Christmas, and so I am really excited to read this one. It's another one that might save for like closer to November once the snow should start falling here. And on to my last one here, I have The Restless Dark by Erica Waters. This seems to be following a really like macabre contest that some people are having to find a noted serial killer's remains because his body was never found whenever he killed himself. And this is following a young woman who was supposed to be his victim as she joins this contest, and various other people. I don't really know much about this. I honestly totally forgot I even had this on my list when someone bought this for me for Christmas last year, so I have no idea how this is gonna go, and I don't really know what it's about, and I think that's kind of exciting. Okay, that's it. That's hopefully what I'm gonna read in the fall, at least for the most part. We'll see how much of that I get to, and yeah, I guess that's it for this video. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Please feel free to do algorithm things if you want, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm gonna say that just once again. Okay, bye.